everyone, welcome to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to unpack today's tactical review with you. Because, well, we're looking right past the basic scoreline to dive into the deep text of a championship team's DNA. You know, so often in football, we get entirely caught up in the final numbers on the board. But some matches, they're practically textbooks just waiting to be read. Today, we're looking at Fenerbahçe's recent 1-0 victory over Górnik Zabrze, a classic, deeply physical Polish team. Now, on the surface, a 1-0 win might seem kind of straightforward, maybe even a bit quiet. But underneath, oh man, it was a massive, rigorous tactical exam. Okay, let's dive into this agenda and dissect the match systematically, like a tactical playbook. First, we'll look at the deep text beyond the scoreboard. Then, we'll examine patience and positional loyalty, highlight the flawless defensive harmony, and finally, uncover the championship-winning habit that actually secures titles.
So, part 1, the deep text beyond the scoreboard, reading beyond the score.
Let's start with the first layer of our iceberg. While this match against Górnik Zabrze wasn't exactly a flashy end-to-end spectacle, it was what tactical analysts like to call a deep text, something requiring careful, deliberate reading. Take a look at this seemingly small number, 1-0. To a casual viewer, it might just look like a narrow win, right? But to the coaching staff, this scoreline is literally the ultimate laboratory. It's where you put your team under immense pressure to test their defensive resistance, their strict adherence to game discipline, and, honestly, their psychological ability to protect a fragile lead without just completely crumbling. It is without a doubt the most revealing test a squad can go through.
And this brilliantly illustrates the contrast. Flashy, high-scoring wins like a 5-0 thrashing bring explosive joy to the stands. I mean, we all love them. It's the party. But those gritty 1-0 grinds, that is where true structural discipline is constructed brick by brick. This is exactly where reflexes are tested to their absolute limits to protect a lead under heavy fire. It forges the real character of a team in the grinding minutes of a tightly contested midfield battle.
Moving right along to part 2, patience and positional loyalty, overcoming the Eastern European barricades. If you're trying to overcome a classic, physical Eastern European team, individual flair just isn't going to cut it. You need an immense amount of patience. You're trying to break down a system historically designed to frustrate you. Just look at what Fenerbahçe was up against here. Górnik Zabrze employed a textbook strategy. They crowded the midfield and used heavy physical contact to create a literal barricade. They narrowed the spaces right from the opening whistle, really trying to provoke frustration and make it exceptionally difficult to establish any kind of rhythm or passing sequences. Now, what's really interesting about this approach is the collective intelligence and step-by-step patience Fenerbahçe used to solve the puzzle. Faced with that barricade, they used a collective, puzzle-solving mindset. Step 1, don't panic. Maintain your composure. Step 2, circulate the ball patiently between the lines to disrupt their defensive balance. Step 3, tire the opponent out by making them chase the game. And finally, Step 4, force a mistake. The single winning goal that broke the deadlock wasn't just some random spark of individual brilliance. It was the calculated product of this precise, collective mental discipline. I really want you to let this thought sink in. The true quality of a team is measured by how loyal they remain to the game plan when things get tough. When the opponent builds a wall of flesh, when the tackles are flying in, and when the spaces literally disappear, do you abandon the plan or do you stick to it? The single goal in this match was the ultimate reward for unwavering loyalty to the tactical blueprint. Which brings us to part 3. Flawless defensive harmony, the stage of the hidden heroes. You know, we spend so much time talking about the goal scorers, but this match was truly a stage for the hidden heroes, the defensive block. The defensive line maintained a rigid, near-flawless stance for the full 90 minutes. Górnik Zabrze really tried to catch them off guard with rapid transitions and chaotic long balls into the box, hoping for a lucky scramble. But the defense? They didn't blink. They perfectly dismantled those counters before they even materialized into real threats. So the crucial point here is how these 3 elements worked in perfect unison. It all starts with a layered defense, a flawless harmony between the center backs and the supporting midfield that immediately steps up whenever danger approaches. That exact structure builds a winning habit, proving that shutting down the opponent in tough games creates true winning DNA. But actually, scratch that. None of this works without the third piece, extreme physical resistance, which was absolutely key to matching Zabre's intensity. Let's define exactly what physical resistance looked like in this specific tactical laboratory. It's not just about being strong, right? It's defined here as a profile that stays on its feet in duels, intelligently responding to the opponent's aggressive roughness, but, and this is vital, without giving away cheap fouls.
The midfield matched the tone of the opponent's physicality, for sure, but they did it with supreme tactical intelligence, neutralizing the threat without gifting away any dangerous set pieces. Let's move to part 4 and see how this builds the big picture. The championship-winning habit, the code to the long marathon. A football season is a grueling, long marathon, and the code to surviving it isn't always written in beautiful, flowing, attacking football. We have to acknowledge reality. This grinding victory was absolutely not a recital for the stands. It wasn't designed purely for entertainment. But what actually brings championships home? It's the ability to find that one solitary goal when the game is completely deadlocked and then totally lock down your defense to see out the clock. That is the undeniable, time-tested blueprint for a championship team. This is the true submerged mass of our iceberg. If you ask what Fenerbahçe really won that day, beyond the 3 points or the victory itself, it's this. They walked away having solidified their on-field organization, having tested and proven their physical endurance, and most importantly, having demonstrated utter cold-bloodedness in crisis moments. They proved they could keep their heads when the game got incredibly tight and physical. Which leaves us with this final massive question based on today's analysis. Is this single goal the silent herald of a championship? When a team can win the ugly games relying on tactical discipline, deep patience, and defensive harmony, they are taking solid, undeniable steps on the right path. Thank you so much for joining me in breaking down this deep text today. Keep analyzing the game, keep looking beyond the scoreboard,